Hey guys, Fletch Football Observer here, and today's video is going to be a Premier League preview show previewing Game 15 of the 2019-2020 season. We have now entered December, and for football that only means one thing. The busy winter festive period is upon us, and that also means that there is pretty much a game every other day or so. And with that being said, this round of fixtures coming up, there are some big encounters, some exciting and interesting encounters, and of course this video is where I preview and analyse them all, as well as give my own predictions. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to begin with a huge game in store for us on Wednesday night, as it sees the first Merseyside derby of the season take place at Anfield, when top of the table Liverpool take on struggling Everton. Last time out, Liverpool maintained their unbeaten season following a 2-1 victory over Brighton, whilst Everton, who at the time of recording still have Marco Silva as their manager, suffered very late on against Leicester, as a last gasp Kelechi Iheanacho goal condemned them to yet another defeat. Will the Reds maintain at the very least their 8-point gap at the top of the table, or will Everton stun the Reds and deliver them their first loss of the season? The fact that this is a derby and the old cliche of form goes out the window, it needs to be thrown out there. But ultimately, with the way both sides have been playing, Everton, they've been very poor this season, whilst Liverpool haven't been consistently amazing, but they've always managed to get the job done when it matters. And with that setting being at Anfield as well, surely this game has only one conclusion, and that is a Liverpool win, right? Well, of course, this could be a bit of a banana skin for the Reds, and they will still need to be alert, but some way, somehow, I would expect the Reds to maintain their unbeaten run and at least their 8-point gap at the top of the table. So with that being said, I'm going to predict a 3-1 Liverpool win here, with Sadio Mane amongst the goals for the home side. Yet another big game lies in the store for our next game of focus, as Jose Mourinho returns to Old Trafford when he takes his Tottenham side to take on his old club Manchester United in one of the many fixtures taking place on Wednesday night. Last time out, Tottenham beat Bournemouth 3-2 at home, whilst Manchester United drew 2-2 with Aston Villa in their clash on Sunday afternoon. Will United spoil Mourinho's return, or will Spurs continue to push for their top 4 chase? Interesting game ahead, this one. Jose will obviously want to get one over on his old club, whilst United will want to get back to winning ways following their previous couple of results, which have been mediocre at best. Always an intriguing game, this one, whenever these two teams clash, and predicting this is maybe a little more difficult to predict than what many people are thinking. But I'm going to go with a Tottenham victory. I give the edge to Tottenham here and say that their attack will just outshine United and their defence. And I'm going to say that the scoreline, I'm going to go with another 3-2. I'm going to go with another 3-2 scoreline in Tottenham's favour, although I wouldn't be surprised either if the game does end in a draw, in all honesty. Our next game takes us to the King Power Stadium, as high-flying Leicester take on rock bottom and now, at the time of recording, managerless Watford on Wednesday night. Leicester needed a late Kelechi Iheanacho goal to defeat Everton 2-1 on Sunday, whilst Watford were on the wrong end of a 2-1 scoreline themselves, with Southampton performing a quick-fire comeback to beat the Hornets, and then, of course, in the aftermath, Quique Sanchez-Flores was sacked from his position as the Hornets manager. And now a managerless Watford face a tough test ahead. Will Leicester heap more misery onto Watford, or will the Hornets surprise and sting the Foxes by winning this game? Intriguing game ahead, given how the managerless Watford team are now a bit of an unknown entity. Of course, by the time of this game does come around, they may have appointed a new manager, and so this prediction may be a little off, but either way, I still would expect Leicester to be victorious here. Regardless of who they bring in to manage this game for this game alone, I am going to predict that Leicester will stretch their winning run to 7 games on the bounce, and I'm going to say that the Foxes will do it, winning 2-0, with Jamie Vardy at least scoring his 14th goal of the season so far. Next, we're at Turf Moor, as Burnley entertain Manchester City in Tuesday night's encounter. Burnley lost 2-0 to Crystal Palace in their last game, whilst Manchester City suffered a bit of a surprising draw during their clash with Newcastle on Saturday. Will Burnley stun City here, or will City get back to winning ways in this fixture? Turf Moor is not an easy place to go by any means. It's going to be physical, it's going to be hard work, but you'd still kind of expect City to win here. Of course, it isn't a foregone conclusion, and after City's draw against Newcastle on Saturday, that is evidence enough for us to believe that Burnley could get a result here if they play very, 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 very well. Especially because we know on their day, Burnley can be very tough opposition for anyone. Regardless, I'm still backing City to win here, and I'm going to predict a 2-1 victory for Pep Guardiola's side, with Raheem Sterling scoring yet again for the visitors. Our next game takes us to Molineux, where Wolves take on West Ham in another Wednesday night game. Wolves made it 9 games unbeaten with their last result, which was a 1-1 draw with Sheffield United, whilst West Ham ended a 7-game winless run in their last match thanks to a 1-0 victory over London rivals Chelsea. Will Wolves extend their unbeaten run to 10, or will West Ham make it back-to-back wins for this game? Intriguing game ahead, yet another intriguing game in all honesty. The win against Chelsea seems to have bought Manuel Pellegrini some more time, but ultimately we all know that a bad result here and the pressure is instantly put back onto him and his club, whilst for Wolves, they'll be looking to continue their push to progress further in the table and maybe even have their sights set on 4th place Chelsea somewhere down the line. As far as a prediction for this game goes though, I'm going to give the edge to Wolves. I think defensively they're stronger, and given West Ham's inconsistency, whilst I wouldn't be completely shocked if the Hammers did manage to get something out of this game, a Wolves win seems the more reasonable and sensible prediction. I'm going to say 2-1 to the home side. Chelsea entertain Aston Villa at Stamford Bridge in our next game of focus. Last time out, the Blues suffered a rather surprising loss against West Ham on Saturday, whilst Aston Villa played out a 2-2 draw with Manchester United on Sunday. Will Chelsea bounce back with a win here, or will Villa condemn Chelsea to their 3rd league loss on the bounce? This game should be an open and entertaining fixture ahead. Both sides like to get the ball down and play and be free to attack and be fluid in their movement, and that could leave a lot of space in key areas for each side's key players to exploit. If Tammy Abraham is back for the Blues, that will be a huge boost. A return to the club he helped gain promotion for last season is possibly on the cards here, along with of course John Terry's return to the Bridge, but this time as part of the away dugout, so there are several little plot lines evolving under the surface for this game. But as far as a prediction goes, I'm going to give the slight edge to Chelsea here and say that the Blues will win this game 3-2, but don't be surprised if Villa manage to come away with something from this game. Two clubs in need of points clash at St Mary's as Southampton host Norwich in our next game. Last time out, Southampton beat Watford 2-1 in the bottom of the table encounter, whilst Norwich played out a 2-2 draw with Arsenal on Sunday. Will Southampton put together back-to-back wins, or will Norwich pick up their 4th victory of the season here? Once again, another crucial game on the cards for both sides, both seemingly in a relegation scrap even this early on in the season, and this is a very good opportunity for one of these two teams to deal a bit of a blow to a potential rival here. It sets itself up to be an open game and hopefully an entertaining one that could go any which way, and that's probably why this will end up as a draw, right? In all honesty, that would not surprise me if that is how it ended come the final whistle. However, whilst my heart does say draw, my head is saying Southampton will just about edge this one, and that's why I'm going to go with a 2-1 Saints win. But ultimately, regardless of whatever result plays out, I won't be that surprised come the final whistle. Next, we're at Selhurst Park for Crystal Palace against Bournemouth in another Tuesday night fixture. Palace come out 2-0 winners against Burnley last time out, whilst Bournemouth lost 3-2 to Tottenham on Saturday. Will Palace condemn Bournemouth to their 4th straight defeat, or will the Cherries stop their poor run of form here? Yet another game that's difficult to call due to Bournemouth being inconsistent. Palace have been pretty good this season and may go into this encounter as favourites in many people's eyes, but ultimately this could be a game Bournemouth turn up to and they could blow Palace away and win comfortably, and that's the unpredictability factor of Bournemouth. They could do that, or they could turn up and Palace could blow them away. It really leaves it up in the open. However, with saying that, I'm going to expect a draw here. I wouldn't be surprised whichever way this result goes, of course, but I'm going to call it right down the middle and say that a draw is going to be on the cards and the result after the final whistle, and I'm going to predict a 1-1 scoreline. In the penultimate game on this list, Sheffield United take on Newcastle at Bramall Lane on Thursday night. Both sides pulled off draws in their last games, with Sheffield United drawing against Wolves 1-1 on Sunday, whilst Newcastle drew 2-2 with Manchester City the day before. Which side will get back to winning ways here? Sheffield United's great season continues, and the Blades currently find themselves on a 7-game unbeaten streak right now. All things are seemingly going great for Sheffield United and their supporters. But as for Newcastle, it may have been a great result what they picked up against Manchester City last time out with that 2-2 draw. But it is a very good point to pick up. However, it's very Newcastle-like to pick up a point in a game where they're not expected to get anything out of, and then go to a more favourable game, shall we say, with all due respect, and then completely flop. And it's definitely not out of the question to happen here. My prediction for this game is a 2-1 Blades win. My head says United will just edge this one, whilst my heart does say draw, but I'm going to go with my head. And honestly, I'm not all that confident with my own prediction on this one, but there we go. I'm going to say a Blades win. And finally, managerless Arsenal take on Brighton at the Emirates Stadium. Last time out, Freddie Ljungberg took charge of his first Arsenal game as interim boss following the dismissal of Unai Emery last week, and he watched his side twice come from behind to draw against Norwich on Sunday, whilst Brighton were beaten 2-1 by league leaders Liverpool at Anfield. Will Arsenal rediscover their winning formula, or will Brighton deal more damage to the Gunners here? At the time of recording, there's been no permanent managerial appointment at Arsenal, meaning Freddie Ljungberg looks set to remain in charge for this fixture. It's another test for Arsenal against another decent footballing side who are looking to be a decent outfit under Graham Potter. But with no league win since the beginning of October, Arsenal need to get back to winning ways as soon as possible. And who knows, maybe if Ljungberg can steady the ship whilst the board are deciding what direction to take the club in as far as who to appoint as their next permanent manager, maybe he can make a statement as to why he should be a serious contender for that particular role. Anyway, back to the game. Brighton will be a tough fixture for them, tough opposition, and they'll be smelling blood here. And I honestly think that they will give Arsenal a real tough game here, and that's why my prediction is a 2-2 draw. It's another game that could go any which way, of course, but I genuinely think both teams will have to settle for a point apiece. And that wraps it up for this Premier League preview show, previewing Game 15 of the 2019-2020 season. Guys, if you have any thoughts, comments or predictions of your own on any of this round's fixtures, leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to read them all. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things would be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch the Football Observer. This has been another Premier League preview show, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.